Hey everybody, Fletch here, taking apart an H&K VP9. Here I'm going to slide forward. I've already taken the barrel out and slide forward on the sleeve and just pop out that back plate. I see a lot of people torque the crap out of the back of their Glock back plate, and as well as any pistol that has a back plate on the slide. You don't need to. That little plastic sleeve around your striker, that is putting pressure on the back plate. It usually fits into that slot that is cut into the little plastic portion. So if you cut that out, if you cut that tension out, you can usually just slide it right off. Not a big deal. I'm taking off the sight plate there. First thing I'm going to do, I'm trying to see if I can pull out the drop safety here, but see I got to knock out a pin. So I go ahead and next step I'm going to take the extractor out by knocking out the extractor pin. One thing about knocking out pins, you can see here, if you go in one way, try to go back in the same. It's not like it's not going to work the other way. It's just some pins kind of have a taper to them. So H&K VP9, not a great. I think it's overbuilt personally. I think they made 4 parts out of one that would work just fine, and use countering springs when they can just use one. It feels overbuilt to me. They are nice, but here I'm showing you the drop safety, how it works. The little hook goes up into the notch on the actual drop safety there, and the pin will go in one way. Okay, so inside the actual cam. So make sure that you got the cams set the right way. It should be the little slot facing the slide, the exterior of the slide. All right, so here I am. I'm knocking off the rear and front sights so I can tape off the slide catches. I call them slide grips. There's 100 million different names for everything, and pretty much whatever comes out of the manufacturer, they won't just call it a spring. They'll call it a striker safety torsion spring. So yeah, it's a striker spring. But so don't get mad if I don't call it the right name. I do have manuals, and I do look on takedowns properly, but some people just don't want to call it that. Call it a striker. All right, now we're working on the frame. If you pull the trigger, the takedown lever rotates out really easy. The next thing you want to knock out is the pin right over the trigger. Okay, these pins are snug. Okay, they are spring pins. They have little cutouts in them so that they are really tough. Okay, and I was kind of just messing with some of the parts here. Right next to the block here, you have the safety clamp. You have the right side slide lock and the disconnector. It comes all out right there. They're coming out. That thing will pop right out. So this next bit, I'm gonna go ahead and take out the sear and hammer housing. And again, these spring pins are tough. So go ahead, that comes out in one piece. Unless you have to take that apart, I recommend not taking that apart. It works good together. Leave it right there. It is a beast to get all the sears and all the springs in correctly. If you don't have to take something apart to clean it, you can spray air in there and knock out some of the dust and grime that you need to. Do that. Do not take things that don't need to be taken apart. It is a pain in the butt to try to work it. There's the dismounting safety that I took out right there. All right, I'm kind of showing you right here. This is a pin that has to be taken out from the inside. Do not, that's why I say overbuilt. You could have just worked a pin that has a simple connector in it, but no, they wanted to go a full Monty. So there we are. It'll come out. When you bring that out, you're gonna have a couple pieces. This is the left side slide lock and spring. I'll show you when we put it back together how you put all this back in the right way. Now I'm going to take out the magazine catch. Oh wait, not here. I'm taking the takedown catch spring. All right. There is a little bit of finesse that has to be done with the magazine catch. You just kind of rotate it out. It can seem like it's not going to fit out of there, and it does fit quite snug. That pin comes out pretty easy. You just kind of have to just roll it out. It'll capture the spring. I did it a couple of times just to show you here. Not super complicated. And there's the frame taken apart right there. Alrighty. I'm going to start with this drop safety here. Again, you want to make sure that the notch on that cam is facing, if you can see, it's facing the slide. And put that spring in and lightly put in that pin. You don't want to freaking beat it in. It's gonna sit pretty nice. You just want to go underneath the slide and it'll be set. All right. Make sure the spring tension is there. Here's I'm just checking to make sure that it catches the striker. It's a pretty good little part right there. Drop safety. All right, now I'm gonna put in the from the top, like I said, put in the extractor. That was nice. Good brain fart right in the middle of the video. Epic. All right, putting in these slide catches. I don't, I'm sure they got a really fancy name. They're just grips for you to rack the slide. So it should just be called grips. All right, I'm gonna knock the sights back on. Looking pretty nice. A little tip: if you're gonna put your own sights on and off, get you a little bit of electrical tape, and so that you don't mar them up when you are tapping them with a punch. If you don't have a sight tool, or you're trying to get keep your nice finish. All right, my little gunsmithing tip here. Working on the magazine catch. Like taking it off, it just slides in. Okay, you don't have to try to take the spring out and put them in separately. That's gonna be a fight, and it probably won't even work. Okay, just line up the holes, hold pressure, and it's pretty easy to tap this in. This isn't one of those spring pins, so make sure it works. Set it so that it's equal distance. Looks pretty good. Boom. Mazel tov. All right. Now moving on to the frame, the rest of the frame. That's facing back towards the rear of the frame. A little finger there. I put right here the slide catch that comes out just by moving it around a bunch of times. All right. Look at the disconnector and the trigger bar relationship. One slides right under. You should see the notches on both. And I like to go ahead and set in the trigger bar and the disconnector and set the sear housing. Trigger bar is going to ride over the sear housing and hammer housing. Okie dokie. So here's the dismounting safety spring. I put a little pressure on there, a lot of pressure actually, and I just keep moving it up until I knock that spring off of the block and onto the little notch there. Okay, here I am just knocking out kind of my holding pin. There's a couple of different ways to do this. Definitely set in your left side slide lock there, and spring. Don't forget the spring sits up under that block. So set it in, get good pressure, and you can either put in the left slot, the right side slide lock pin, or you can put in the little internal pin. Either way, it works. Either or. Don't try to do both. Okay, I kind of highlighted this area. The long arm of this spring goes forward, and just kind of hold on to your needle nose pliers nice and firm. Set this trigger spring, and it should slide in there. Don't overthink it. Just, it seems like you're gonna put too much pressure on that spring. Don't worry about it. Here, I'm putting the clamp back on. Okay, making sure everything reacts to each other. Yeah, like and subscribe. Help out an airborne ranger. Let's put this baby back together. Take a look.